Tell me a little bit about yourself and your background in IoT.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Matias Rodriguez. I'm technical director for Globant. And I started like around 2003, which it was not actually IoT, it was called more machine to machine or other terminology, but I started working on telecommunications, particularly on for Motorola on VoIP phones, embedded into MC systems. So it was a scanner that it was actually also including voice capabilities. So down there I started to, down the road, working on communications on XMPP and other protocols until I joined Globant and started working on console embedded developments. And as we always do in Globant, trends were coming around Internet of Things, and we built a studio and we started to focus on everything related with that.
Great. Well, I want to talk a little bit about infrastructure IoT, or say environmental IoT. How would you compare the differences between infrastructure IoT and say consumer IoT or commercial IoT?
Well, yeah, the main difference that I see, it's basically on how the product or service face the consumer. So on on one hand, we have more automation and more industrial design and engineering of materials. On the other side, we have more consumer storytelling, gamification, engagement. So the way I see both have UI, but one is more oriented with dashboarding and more technical. The other one I foresee and expect it will be more fun and storytelling.
Okay, and so consumer IoT has a consumer-facing UX. It's also, I guess, not so much involved with industrial applications. Is there big differences when you're in an environment versus a consumer IoT product?
Well, the way you need to present things for consumer is different, and the way you are exposed in PR is different. On industrial, you have a limited set and different expectations from the consumers. On the real consumer, the end consumer side, you have a lot of expectation and a really high bar to raise. So even though you may be showing industrial information, you need to show it in a more compelling way, which require roles to do that.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the UX now. How would you compare the UX for the work that you're doing versus, say, the UX for an industrial or a commercial IoT deployment?
Absolutely, yeah. The UX that we do, it's highly contextual and deeply contextual. So usually, how we work is we go deep into the problem, and we have expertise from various buckets that we want to share, but that allows us to combine solutions in different ways. So we can combine gamification and big data, rules engines, machine learning in order to provide a better experience to the consumers. And now, and we will talk about it on the talk, the best user experience is actually not having user experience. So there is a lot to be thinking there. So on the industrial dashboarding, it will continue. It was always there, but it will be also be more compelling and becoming more real, I think.
Now, in this case, in the environmental IoT, you're within, obviously, an environment. So you don't have, I guess you might have a smartphone, but other than that, you're kind of just free-form in the environment. So how do you get around those challenges?
The good thing is that now we are in the best position to start combining industrial design, and it's not going to be about the UI that you see on your phone. It's going to be about the magical things that are happening around you, how lighting will guide you instead of you having to be guided through manually or by an application.
Okay. So. Well, then, what's the technology differences now? Again, so now comparing environmental or infrastructure IoT with commercial, consumer, industrial, what would the technology differences be?
Well, what we saw in terms of technology is that cloud storage and cloud computing is getting cheaper and cheaper.
Sure.
Also, Moore's law, again, chips and manufacture are getting cheaper. So before, sensors were only on the industry realm, where now we are seeing wearables and home devices that contain the same complexity that we saw in sensors on highly complex factories 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Right now you can buy it on Amazon for like $2. So it's really it's really how you get access to the technology, how it's cheaper, and how can you produce outputs that in amazing results.
So what you're saying then is the sensors that are available to you today are the same ones that were previously used in very expensive, let's say, a type of deployments. What about other technologies? Moving away from the sensors, what other technologies are involved that are different?
Well, again, in terms of computing, in terms of cloud storage, visualization engines. So again, machine-to-machine communications and all the machinery was running under the same realm. Now, Internet of Things is proposing that we can basically turn any objects into an API that can tell us what is happening there, and we can plug it in whatever we want and then connect with others. So every single object will be coming like a mini Lego that you can plug in, extract information, and connect with everything. So machine to machine was always there. But now you have cheaper networking, cheaper storage, cheaper computing that allows you to take away that massive amount of information that probably some years ago was unimaginable to process. Now with big data and with other components that are on the backend side that are part of IoT platforms too, are somehow that important, and we will see some details also on the talk that can clarify better that.
Now, do you develop your own platform, or are you using an existing platform, or does it change depending on the requirements?
We tend to be technology agnostic,
Okay.
but we are friends with a lot of partners. So we have full capabilities to create a PCB chip from scratch. Of course, if we can use an SDK that already provides that. But we have a framework that allows us to take any product or service and enchant it with IoT and smart and seamless and frictionless experience in order to provide a better product, an IoT, a smart product. So we have a clear process to go from the low level or low scale prototypes into a higher scale prototype. So we talk with the big guys, and we know how to do it, but initially we like the independence of doing ourselves everything, and we also have some samples that we can showcase on the talk.
So something you said earlier, which I thought was pretty interesting, is you said, I think it was the best interface or maybe the best technology disappears, right? It's invisible. Why don't you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, you will see the phrase there.
Okay.
But again, what we are trying to see, and we will see like a kind of quick timeline there, is that again, the best technology, the best UI is the one that you don't see. So any experience, product, service, user engagement that you want to do in the future will require not only be frictionless, omni-channel, there is a lot of people talking about that, but I think that it will include storytelling and this magical thing. It's not a coincidence that Disney is the first IoT big success, and that's because they know how to mix technology and storytelling.
So why don't you use an example then? So what's an example that you can use with the client that you've been working with that exemplifies what you've been talking about there?
Yeah, well, basically when we work with our clients, we help them, we understand the problem, and we propose them to combine different things. So,
but can you give us a particular project that you worked on, just to give us, an idea of the types of projects that you work on?
Yeah, absolutely. For Osram, for instance, we are working with Osram on smart lighting.
Okay.
And we are working together with them. Of course, they are doing the hardware part, and we are helping on how can we tie the machine learning, so to learn the smart lighting, to contributing to the user interface for mobile and allow you to configure everything. So we're working on that, and we're working on several IoT platforms. Because right now, you don't want to end with a lot of icons from different vendors. Right. So there is a lot of trends on consolidating that into single platforms, and we are working with some of them.
So you're doing the consolidation, you're saying, or what do you mean by that?
We are working with, it's called a Ryan platform, and we developed the mobile SDK that allows you to create quickly applications, and we work with Osram to create like a hub application for home automation that's basically consolidating all the smart appliances on your home in a single solution.
And this platform, is it your platform that you developed, or is it that you're using an existing
At
platform?
Ryan, it's actually a commercial platform.
Okay.
They didn't include like a formal SDK, so for us to speed up future developments, we created the SDK and then we
Okay.
move it into future developments.
Well, can you share with our viewers some best practices that you've observed over the years when building these type of environmental IoT deployments?
Absolutely. The more details, again, on the talk, likely includes a lot of this. But the best piece of advice that I can give is go out to a maker fair, go to Autodesk University, go to the events, buy yourself an Arduino. It's not that hard as you may think. And you will start, I think that is the best way to start brainstorming. This talk will hopefully shake a little bit that, but it's the best way for you to think how can you apply that to your business. The first thing that you will say is, holy, I couldn't believe that this is happening. The second thing that happens usually with our customers when we show stuff like that is, how can I apply that to my business? I want to apply that to my business. So go out and take action.
So where can our viewers find more about Globant and its activities in IoT?
Well, we are like a new breed on technology services, and we are a Globant company, so you can check our website. And if you happens to be on San Francisco, we have an office half block away from the Moscone Center where you can visit us.